All right. Let's do it now.
All right. Here's a little intro for you. I think we've sung this song before, so just follow along. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You ready? Go. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. Here we go with a big change. Let's look at everybody. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. And we shine. And we shine. And we shine so bright. And we shine. And we shine. And we shine so bright. Listen up. Here we go. Shine. We shine. And we shine so bright. Ready? And we shine. And we shine. We shine. We shine so light.
Okay, our practitioner today is Jody, and I'll let Jody just take over. So have a seat and close your eyes.
Usually don't mention the source, but I just love the title of this book. The Undrowned Black Feminist Lessons from marine mammals. I just love the name of that book. What I know is that I am proud of you for the depth of the work that you are doing, for the layers that you are uncovering, for the changes that made you when you learned that what you thought was rock bottom was just a reflection of a sound you were making called need. How diligent your breath for staying deep. And all the noise that bounces off our lives. How wonderful we are when we're together. We could change the entire story with what we know. That this is not the bottom, this is life. This is not the floor. This is not even a wall. This is our air. As we enter meditation, I invite you to affirm, my journey in love starts within and radiates outward. And as you bring your attention back to the sound of my voice, know that there is only God, only love, and there's nothing outside of this oneness, that it's all inclusive, and it is all knowing, all powerful, and everywhere present. And in this consciousness of unity, I know for each of us that today unfolds in perfect divine right order as we explore that we are launching from love into love and as love. And I give great thanks that Reverend Suzette and Reverend Michelle are channeling the inspiration that reaches each of us in the perfect way, and that we are all here together to join in this fellowship in person, online, now and later, to every corner of the universe. I give thanks for the technology, give thanks for the inspiring music. I speak these words into law, knowing it is so, and I say thank you, Mother, Father, God, and so it is. And let's give another hand for T.J. Moss.
Good morning, everybody. I'm feeling a little more quiet and reflective today. As Reverend pointed out, my daughter doesn't really care how late I went to sleep. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to be a little bit vulnerable and just sing an older song. It's called Down, Down, Down. The greatest gift I ever got was to be alive and know it. The greatest thing I ever did was care. The greatest day I ever had, I found a way to slow it down, down, down. The music in my mouth is like an ever-flowing notion, dancing to the ocean sound. Still I'm trying to hear the melody, I'm trying to find the time and slow it down, down, down. I woke again this morning and I felt so truly grateful. I'm giving up the hateful things inside. I listen to this heart of mine and take the time to write things down, down, down. The pulp inside the tree is like a river flowing nowhere, knowing that we're homeward bound. Still I'm trying to make the memory, I'm trying to find the time and slow it down, down, down. Well, there are voices from the grave, they are telling me how not to be a slave. I lay them down, down, down. Well, there are voices from the grave. They are telling me how not to be afraid of my brain. I lay them down, down, down. I lay them down, down, down. Still I'm trying to make the memory. I'm trying to find the time and slow it down. 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 You guys get me. You totally get me.
You sound like John Denver.
Ah, let's go. Keep coming. Come on.
As I'm sitting there listening to you sing, I'm thinking, you know, we bring on some really great artists, and you're one of those. You're definitely one of those. Thank you. It's love and compassion. So today, Michelle and I did something different. We didn't do the talk that was provided to us. We created our own, right? You might say, kind of, sort of. So, again, I'm just so grateful that Michelle and her community come and visit us. As Israel is amazed too at me. He keeps watching me, so I'll wave at him a lot. Okay. Anyway, let's give Michelle a warm welcome. Okay.
Oh, good morning. And I can say the same thing about, I know, I can speak for my community, that we all love coming up here and being with you guys. We get to be kind of one big, loving, spiritual family, and we feel right at home. So thank you for that. So today, we're talking about love. We're talking about the foundational, universal principle of love. You know, generally in our culture, when we talk about love, we talk about sentimental love. We talk about romantic love, about love of our children and our family and our friends. And you know, it's that sweet, comforting, warm and fuzzy, feel-good love. And there's nothing wrong with that. That feels great. But the love that we're talking about today is all of that and so much more. We're talking about the strength and the power of universal love that created the universe. You know, it wasn't just a big bang, it was an explosion of passion and creativity and order and harmony and wisdom and love. And it continues to this day. Still creating. Everything is creating. Love is this creation. And as we get to know these qualities of the principle of universal love as our reality, as the reality of the world, then we get to know ourselves. We get to know who we are because we're cut from the same cloth. The signature of this divine love is written all over its creation. It's written on our hearts. It's written in our souls. It's who we are. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, said that love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. I love that. It's one of my favorite quotes of his. And it's true. God is love, and we are love. We are this presence. We're love. And whenever I think about this foundational idea that we're based in, that we're founded on, that we are born from. I always think about that wonderful question that Einstein posed. Do we live in a friendly universe? Is the universe friendly? You know, I think that's a great question. What a great question to ask ourselves, to kind of reflect on how we feel about it. And it's not really a scientific question, although he was a scientist. It's more of a philosophical or a spiritual question. Is the universe friendly? If you look at it from a scientific perspective, I mean, it looks kind of hostile. I mean, you know, it does. I mean, you got radiation, you got extremes of hot and cold, you got natural disasters, you got disease, extinction. I mean, it doesn't look all that warm and fuzzy, does it? But the truth is that all of these things that look kind of hostile and unfriendly, come together through the process of natural laws to create an environment in which life can express itself, where it can thrive, where we live. I mean, that's kind of amazing when you think about it. Out of chaos, order. Out of all of these things that come together in just a beautiful environment in which we can, as sentient beings, as life itself, we can all experience and express love and wonder and wisdom and connection and joy. I mean, from all of this, we have the environment in which we can love each other and be together and revel in the beauty and the majesty that we see around us. Sounds pretty friendly to me. And I mean, I think we can use friendly as a synonym for God. I mean, at the very least, it can be an environment in which love can grow and thrive and express itself. I think the universe is very friendly, you know, and it's the nature of God to love itself through us as its creation. So my answer to that is, heck yes, we live in a friendly universe. You know, and so today, as Suzette said, we're talking about how this love, how this universal principle of divine love expresses itself through compassion. And then she's going to talk about loving kindness and how we express it through loving kindness. And I've always liked the topic of compassion. I was saying to the ladies in the car on the way down here that whenever I have a topic that I'm going to talk about on Sunday, I get lots of opportunities that week to experience compassion. So I have. Well, that's why I liked your song, Down, Down, Down. It brought me, okay. So, and it was beautiful too. So I've had lots of opportunities to talk about compassion. Up until now, I've really looked at compassion kind of in relationship or in comparison to sympathy and empathy. Almost like sympathy, empathy, compassion climbs up the ladder. Sympathy is really a recognition of someone else's pain, sorrow, challenge, heartbreak, disease, suffering, something that they're going through, a recognition of it and saying, oh yeah, I see you. I see, I understand. It's an understanding that someone is going through this experience. And then empathy, I think, climbs the ladder. I often think about my daughter, who's a nurse, when I think of empathy, because empathy helps her so much in her work. It's not only do I see and understand, but I feel it too. I feel it. I feel that heartbreak. I feel that challenge that you're going, I'm here with you. I see you. I feel you. I'm here. And then we climb up the ladder to compassion. Oh, and first I want to say that I think sympathy and empathy are skills that we can learn. We can learn, we can develop an ability to be sympathetic and to be empathetic. But compassion, I believe, is on a different level. It's an inherent quality within us. It's like every other quality of the divine. We have the seeds of compassion within us, and we can water them and let them sprout and take root and bloom in our life. And to me, compassion is, I see you, I feel you, and I know what is possible for you. I see the truth of the divine presence in you, and I hold that for you. I see God in you, and I know what is possible for you. It's almost like an affirmative prayer to hold that possibility open. And I love that idea of it being an inherent quality. It's a presence, and yes, it's a way to express the principle of universal love. So we get the benefit of it. You can feel it. Compassion is just such, it's a high vibe, just like love, born from that presence of who we are inherently. There's a Buddhist adage that you have to have a hard back and a soft front. And I love this idea because it reminds me that we stand, our foundation, our strength, like our backbone, it stands in the foundational universal principle of love. It's who I am. I stand on that. I can hold whatever comes my way. And yet in the same breath, I have a soft front that is open and vulnerable and receptive to embrace whatever is going on with you. And for myself, self-compassion, one of the more challenging things that we can develop or that we can recognize in ourselves. So I have a hard back that supports me in that deep love that I am, that we all are. It is who we are. And yet I can have a soft and receptive and open front to embrace you because you are me and me as well. I ran across this wonderful story. I have to give you a little heads up. It's a little bit sad, but it also really, I think, illustrates this idea that compassion is an avenue for healing. No, it's not even an avenue. It's a space and a presence and a ground for healing. Sorry, I keep hitting this. And so the story goes, the story was told by a Buddhist nun. I neglected to get her name. And she tells a story about a time when she injured herself. I think it was her ankle that she injured, and she found herself in an ER unit in the hospital. And she describes the scene for us. She said, there were bodies all around in pain that were suffering. And she said this was an unusual ER unit in that it didn't have rooms. It had like sections just where people were, there were curtains in between each bed, but the front was open. So it was kind of a big open space. And she said that it was like any other ER. It was very, very busy, and caregivers and doctors, nurses were running around caring for each other or for everyone else that was in pain. But there was no front to the partitions. She could see out and what was going on around her. And she said that she was in this bed and she could see across from her this woman who was in real pain. She said she was grabbing herself. She was writhing in pain. She was calling out for people to help her get out of pain. And it was just kind of chaos in a way. And then she said that all of a sudden she heard sirens and an ambulance pulled up, and they brought out this child who was in a dire situation, really, really ill. And they put him in a partition. She could hear everything that was going on, but she couldn't see them. And she and the staff was furiously working, feverishly working on this child, and the parents were beside themselves. They were, oh, please save my child, do something. They were really, you can imagine, even if you're not a parent, you can imagine. And at some point, the child had no heartbeat, and they weren't able to save the child. And sad, right? That was what I was giving you a heads up about. And the Buddhist nun who was telling the story reflected that all of a sudden, the entire ER that had previously been noisy and loud and people in pain and everybody running around, there was a hush. There was a quiet that fell over the entire ER. And she said it was almost silent. And she said she looked over, and the woman that had been writhing in pain just a few minutes earlier was quiet and still. And then, of course, the caregivers, they had to move on. They had other patients that they had to tend to. And so they were hustling and moving and starting to take care of the other people that were there. And this one male nurse who had tended to the child that didn't make it, he went over to this woman that had been in so much pain. And he started to care for her. And the person, the nun telling the story, said he had tears in his eyes. And he was working with this woman who was in so much pain, and she grabbed his hand and said, "I'm okay. Take a minute. It's okay. I'm okay." And so he gathered himself, tears in eyes, went out into the hallway and took a break. And then I assume he came back and helped. But the takeaway for this nun that was telling the story, and certainly for me, was the power, the strength of compassion. It was compassion that silenced the ER. It was compassion that laid over the entire ward. It was compassion that calmed and healed and brought the people that had been just previously in pain into a sense of wholeness. And she said she understood the incredible power of compassion. I can just feel it telling the story. There is a power in compassion to know that I am there with you and we are there in God. There is something higher, and we can be together, be connected in our human challenges, in whatever we meet, and live in the compassion of the divine. This is the power of compassion. This is the activity, the healing power, the presence of compassion, and the seeds of compassion are within each of us. It's who we are. And, we don't have to, it doesn't have to be a dire situation for us to have compassion. We can have compassion for ourselves, for whatever, that we stubbed our toe on the way to the bathroom, that we, had a challenge at the grocery store. It doesn't matter. Compassion is not just something we draw on when there's some dire circumstance. It becomes a way of life, just a way of life. There's another story. I'm just going to give you the Reader's Digest version. In that same hospital, there was a woman that was coming into the elevator, and there was a nurse there who worked in the intensive care unit. She works there every day, right? So she has become the nature of compassion. And this woman that got on the elevator was all distressed. And the nurse who worked in the intensive care unit was holding her lunch, and the woman accidentally knocked her lunch, and soup went all over her. And the woman who had done it didn't say a word; she just ran out, and everybody else in the elevator looked at her like she didn't say. And the nurse says, "This is probably the worst day of her life. This is nothing." And when we look at life from that ER nurse, or she was an intensive care nurse, she lived in that mode of compassion. We can develop that way of living, of encountering life, to have compassion for ourselves and for everybody else that we encounter or hear about. Or when we passed an accident on the way down. There were trucks everywhere, fire trucks, ambulance, paramedics. We just prayed. This is a way of living in compassion for all beings. So I've kind of gone on longer than I thought I was going to, but I wanted to tell you about this one quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that I just loved. He said, "We must be love-struck with each other." We must be love-struck with each other. And when I hear that word love-struck, it brings up this feeling of the freshness of love. You know, when you just fall in love, you're love-struck. You live in that expression of constant love and the expression of compassion wherever you go, you know. We are these compassionate beings who can be love-struck with all of life, wherever we go. So compassion is just a magnificent way to live in the healing power, the strength of the universal principle of divine love. And so is loving kindness. Really? Yes. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that as well.
All right. So how do I cross over to loving kindness? It's funny, you know, I'll write a talk and then I'll go, there's something missing. And for me this morning, what was missing is how do I introduce you to loving kindness from a place where you can feel it? So I want you to close your eyes just for a moment. And I want you to imagine someone in your life who you've known or you know now who was love and kindness. What qualities did they possess? What were the things that made them loving and kind? Who were they when things happened and they brought that quality out? Just kind of imagine who that is. And what were some of the things that they did? And if you have somebody in your mind, you can open your eyes. So I want you just to hold that. Hold that while I talk. Because all of us have been influenced by somebody over the years who was like that. My grandmother was like that. Didn't matter what I did wrong. She was always loving and she was always kind to me. She did a lot for me. Now that I think about it, I talk about her a lot. So I have a couple quotes and I'm just going to start off with those. Love and kindness are the highest forms of intelligence, the purest expressions of our deepest understanding and empathy for one another. They reflect the true essence of our humanity and the potential for goodness in the world. And Barbara DeAngelo says, love and kindness are never wasted. Never wasted. They always make a difference. They bless the one who received them, and they bless you, the giver. So there's a reciprocal thing going on when you do this. there's a journey that we go on to really recognize loving kindness. As we're little ones, we don't really get it. And as we grow up and we start to practice it, maybe in small little ways, we start to feel good about ourselves. The thing is, we do loving kindness not to be validated. When we're trying to be validated, we're not really doing loving kindness. We all get that? Yeah. It's a conscious, deliberate act that's powerful, and it's within us. It's just like you said, it's that God thing. It's already there. You don't have to go get it. You don't have to become it. It just is. And you have it. That's the reason why I wanted you to think about somebody. And I'll give you the end of that story at the end, why I wanted you to think about somebody. The thing about this God quality is it's always there. And it's for us to remember. It's for us to say, oh, yes. When I was writing this talk, I have an office that looks out into my backyard. And my backyard is like 2/3 of an acre. And I have these gorgeous trees. And now that we put the bird seeders up, I have these nice birds that come by. And I see the bees, and I see the wasps that I don't want to see, but I see all of it. And so when I kind of get not sure what to do, is I'll just look out into that space and say, show me the beauty. And what happens is I have this shift that goes on inside of me that allows me to then become creative. To become created. So the point why I bring this up is it doesn't matter where you're at, this presence that we know, wherever it is, you are there. And so if you're having a bad day, just look out and say, show me the good, show me the beauty. Now, I have two main points here today, and the first one is that when we have a bad day, do you feel like giving loving kindness? This is a true thing. You know who you give it to? You give it to yourself. I count over the last 20 years. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to on the phone or in sessions, and they're like, "Oh, life is this, is that, is bad, nah." And the first thing I think of is, what are you doing for yourself? What love are you giving yourself? So loving kindness really comes from within, but you have to nurture it. You have to say, "That's who I am. That's what I want." In fact, I just worked with somebody, I've never met this person. And they came out with a nice prayer request. And as I read their prayer request, I went, all I want them to do is go take care of themselves. I can't answer their questions right now because I made an appointment to talk to them later. But I can say to them and give them direction, take care of yourself. They emailed me back and said, I went and had a massage. Now that's what you do. You do that thing that reinvents you, shifts that person inside you to be loving kindness. I cannot pronounce this gentleman's name. He's a Buddhist monk, but he says this. He said, love is the only reality, and it is not a mere sentiment. It is the ultimate truth that lies at the heart of creation, the force that drives the universe and binds us together in a profound, eternal connection. A lot of what you said. It brings us together. And I want to say it's, over here are all the qualities of God. I leave that on the wall because I want you just to see the word. There's specific words, but one of the things that loving kindness is it's powerful. You can change the atmosphere by knowing this. How many people have been in a grocery store and a mom has had a baby and the baby's going, yeah. Come on, you've all been there. You've seen moms at grocery stores. I love going up to them and just acknowledging the child or acknowledging the mom. That's a small way of just saying, it's going to be okay. It's a loving kindness thing. And I want you to, the reason I say this, I want you to know you have power in using this as a tool. Part of your spiritual toolbook, you might call it, to go out and change and shift people. So today, I'm not going to talk a lot because it's really about you embodying it. But we have a handout we're going to give you. You might have somebody help you with that. And when you get it, don't look at it, turn it upside down, okay? And for those of you online, I have a slide which will give you a link to another website that you can actually download this. So, don't look at it though. Turn it upside down. Now let me tell you a little story around this handout you're getting. Last year I went to, how many people have been to Esalen? Anybody here been to Esalen? Esalen, wonderful place, yeah. Turn it over, don't look at it. So, don't look at it, hide it. I know. So last year I went to Esalen, and it was for a yoga, Qigong, Pilates, meditation week. It was great. I just loved it. But during that time, we have a couple people over here, please. During that time, you need to make copies? During that time, the instructor is extremely compassionate because there were all ages in that group. There were all of us that had limitations. I was in the process of going to have a knee surgery, and there were people who had already had knee surgery. So there was a lot going on in that room. But one of the things that she talked about was loving kindness. And I thought, this, what you will have and look at, well, it comes from my book that I've created. And I said to her, would it be okay if I, at the end, did a prayer? Just to pray for us. Not, because we're all traveling from all over the country. And just something that was, safety or whatever. And then I said, and I'd like to give a handout, which you will have. You all have. She said, yeah. She just bring me the handout first. So she read the part, because there's more to this. She read it, and then she said, yeah, I think that'd be great. So what you're going to have in your possession is something that I've already given out. And it was kind of cool because the prayer was about everyone being loving kindness to themselves, and that we had come to this workshop to learn how to do that. Because if any of you have any aches and pains, it's going to show up in that kind of a workshop. And so we were learning how to take care of ourselves, how to love ourselves. And then I ended it with, and now as you travel home, I'm going to give you some things to do that are love and kindness. And so, in a minute, I'm going to have you, see, I gave them time to download it. That's the reason why we had the story. So I'm going to give you a moment. So you're going to need your pen. And what I want you to do first is I want you to just check. Anything on that, just a check mark. Now, this is a check mark, guys. Check mark, all right? Because you're going to do an X later. So I want you to do a check on anything you have done in the last week. Just the last week. So you can go through, turn it over and look through it and do a check mark on anything you have done in the last week. If you need a pen, Gisela. Here's another one, Gisela. Gisela, here. There you go, sure. And for those of you that are online, this is what it looks like. And you can also download it. It's on our website. Just check off. And be very thoughtful. What have you done the last week? Only. Just keep going down the list. If you don't read it, make it easy on yourself. Not what you've done past the week, just during the week. Yeah, you want to see it? You can see it? Yeah. Here, I can show it to you right here. It's right there. just what you have done. Oh, here they are. Not what you did 2 weeks ago, just this week. Now, if you get that done, then I want you to go back and put an X by anything you have already done. Not a check and an X, but an X. So if you've done it past last week, you can put an X. Don't make it hard. Just read it and did it or didn't. He's so good. All right. So wherever you are, we'll kind of bring it back. You can complete this later on. But what I'd like you to do now, once I get all of your attention, come back to the room. I want you to look back over the list now, and anything you have not done, I now want you to pick one of those things and turn to your neighbor and tell them what you're going to do. Just one thing. Just one thing. And if you get too noisy, I'll hit the ball. Find one thing, turn to your neighbor. Well, here, we can go back here. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Amy.
They're just tough as tree. What do you get? I'm being silly. And I'll give you and share with the neighbors. Because there's times they just go
Am I gonna? Oh, I don't know. I do a lot of these. I know. I do them naturally.
I
Too.
know, that's what I was thinking. The only thing I can think of that would be really powerful for me is to forgive my brother. Since I'm
meal, maybe. That was mine.
Can't hear you. Did everybody tell somebody? Okay, I'm gonna have you come back. Now, since this book hasn't been printed, if there's something you think that needs to be on that list that you would like me to add to my book, it's pretty comprehensive. Yeah, I tried. Let me know. I'm happy to add to it. I haven't printed it yet, so.
What about a bunch of stuff that you do for yourself?
Well, that's a whole different story.
Oh, okay.
I just put a couple in there for you to say I've done that. Okay. This is not to change you, it's to make you think about whether you do it or not.
Okay.
Right? And then say, okay, I can do more of this, or I can do whatever. So, how do you feel about yourself now? You did good, yeah. I saw a lot of checks and X's. So good job. So let me do a couple things. One is, I want you to think back on the person that I had first asked you to bring up that did loving kindness. Do you remember? Everybody bring it back. How do I put this? If you recognized their loving kindness, you need to know that that's inside of you. Do you get that? Because you would not have recognized it if it wasn't already there. And that's why when we talk about the essence, this God essence, we use words, but this God essence, it's already there. You don't have to go get it. You don't have to go anywhere. And I'm going to use the word that my dean said during ministerial school, you'll remember this, is to be it. Be it. Be that which you want to be felt, you want to feel. And then it's just a natural thing. It's a natural thing. So I'm going to end with two quick quotes, and then I'm going to take into prayer to pray all of this into to the week that we have coming up, okay? So here's the quotes. Act with kindness, but do not expect gratitude. True acts of kindness are given freely, without the need for acknowledgement or reward. The true value lies in the act itself, not in the response it elicits. And then I love this last one, which is so simple but so profound. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Ever wasted. We all love to hear it, and it's so much fun for me when I get to give it, because I get to watch the expression and feel that love that I'm giving out. I can see it. I can see it coming back to me. So let me take us into prayer, and then we'll bring back TJ. Do you want to be with me on this prayer?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll let you do the beginning. Just pray whatever comes to your mind, your heart.
Okay.
And then
All right.
I'll end it. You go for it.
Okay, so take you to 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take me to 2.
Ta-
3. Yeah.
Take
3.
you to 3. All right. I invite you to just take in a deep breath. Feel that oxygen filling your lungs. I always like to pause here and say thank you to my sacred body temple. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. God in expression. We know that all there is God. Everything, everywhere, all the time, God, 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 God. In compassion, in loving kindness, in order, in harmony, in wisdom. It's all God. And we are an expression of this power and presence and this very essence of the universe, continually creating and moving through us and as us. We are the way in which this beautiful source knows itself in love, in compassion, and in kindness.
And so I know and accept today as we hear these words of compassion, of kindness, of love, that we open up to that into our own lives, giving it to ourselves so that we are full of the divine moving through us and in us and as us through the many different things that happen in our lives. And if we lose track, we just pause. Pause in that moment of saying, I'm here, right here, right now, and I recognize the divine presence within me. And from that place, we then go forward in compassion, in love, and in kindness to the world. And so as we end this service, I'm knowing that the next week is filled with compassion, with love, with kindness, and with deep breath of the divine, living it, breathing it, and being it in the world. And for that, I'm simply grateful that each of you have come here today to be that drop of God in the world, that drop of loving in the world, and expressing that to everyone you meet, giving it away to make whatever we do a better place. For that, I'm grateful, and I release these words into the infinite law of love, knowing it's already taken place right here, right now. And so, join me in saying, and so it is, and so it is. This